that if you ever find yourself lost in a forest and you do not have a compass, neither do you have some GPS, you can use trees as a compass. How? Moss grows on trees and grows on the shady part of a tree. So if you find yourself lost, you look at the direction of the moss, and this is going to help you navigate your way out of a forest. So this is what happens. In the northern hemisphere, the sun hits the trees at the southern angle, and in the south, the sun hits the trees at the northern angle. So moss will tend to grow on the opposite side of where the sun hits the tree. You follow the moss and how it's growing on the trees. This acts as a navigator showing you which is the north and which is the south of wherever you are. Interesting fact. Hello guys, welcome back to Elysian the Great, and today we are talking about our second love, because God is our first love, our second love, trees. So today we're going to be discussing some very interesting facts about trees that I know that most of you do not know, but you're going to know at the end of the video. So, fact number 1. Did you know that trees are the longest living organisms in the world and never die of old age? And did you know that we have a list in California that is called the Old Database for Ancient Trees? And on this list, we have one tree called Methuselah, which is over 4,800 years old. This tree is not actually part of history. It's actually a tree that watches history being made, because I'm thinking, if you think of it being part of history and it has seen history before Christ, after Christ, and actually might see history after we human beings cease existing, this is a phenomenal part of our history, and it's a phenomenal part of our life. It's something that educates us as people to take life easy, to take life slowly, to enjoy the moments as they come by, because being in existence for over 4,800 years is no joke. Okay, point number 2. Did you know that rings of trees indicate the age of a tree, but at the same time tell the climatic conditions that the tree has actually faced? The rings of a tree, despite telling the age of a tree, they'll tell if the volcanic eruptions that have happened, they'll tell if there were floods, if there was drought, just by the people studying the rings, observing them. When the seasons are fertile, you notice that the rings of the trees are thicker, but when the times are drier, you notice that the rings of trees are thinner. So, did you know that? You didn't, now you know. So, have you ever heard of moon trees? I'm sure you're wondering, moon trees, what are these? Some people do know, but some don't. So let me explain to you what are moon trees. Moon trees are grown from seeds that were taken to the moon in the early 1971. After orbiting the Earth in the Apollo 14 mission, these seeds were returned to Earth and germinated by the Forest Service. After being planted with their earthbound counterparts, these seedlings show no discernible difference after 20 years of study. It's actually an interesting fact that there's some seeds that have been to the moon and have not. Life goals. Okay, another point. Did you know that trees actually communicate? Yeah, they do communicate. They talk, they communicate with each other using their roots. And this happens especially with the wind willows. The wind willows, when insects attack the wind willows, they talk to the fellow wind willow trees and tell them to let out chemical called, I think it's called tonin. I'm not very sure about the spelling and the name. I'll put it somewhere here. And this chemical, when it's let out into by the tree, it has an effect of making the leaves become hard for the insects to digest. So when the insects cannot digest these leaves, they just end up living, and that's a defense system, a defense mechanism made, and the willow tree saved. So here's another interesting fact. We all know pine trees, and we see pine trees all over, and I think we take advantage of the fact like it's just a basic pine tree. But did you know that pine trees grow in only 6 continents and they do not grow in the Atlantica? I don't know what happened in the Atlantica. The pine trees just find it not conducive for them. But apparently there is no single pine tree in the Atlantica. That has happened, and that's just about pine trees. Something else about pine trees. Pine trees actually have genders. We have the male pine trees and their female pine cones. And the pine trees, the male pine, what am I saying? The male pine trees, they produce pollen, and then the pollen is transported through wind to the female pine trees, and the female pine trees produce seeds. Then when the pollen and the seeds meet, fertilization happens, what pollination happens, and when pollination happens, fertilization, and that's how pine trees apparently reproduce. Interesting fact, I think. So the final and most interesting factor about trees. Trees tend to grow throughout the year. Even each and every part of a tree grows in its own season. You find like maybe when it's spring, the leaves are growing, when the roots are growing in a different season. So the whole year you find the trees growing. What else? This is a bonus. A bonus is that you need to know that coal actually came from trees. Um, in the evolution period, trees that were the first trees are what formed coal, and coal was the first energy source. Today we still depend on trees for energy because the trees will protect the water sources, and the water sources will be used to produce electricity, and this electricity is what we use as energy. So do you see the importance of trees? Yes. So that's why I'm saying a tree a person, and we're going to get to a 10% cover, and a tree a person, we're going to conserve environment. A tree a person, we're going to keep the most important source of everything for us, that is the trees. So this is Elysian. Till next time, adios amigo. Remember, you're beautiful within and without. Bye bye.